Buenos días.
Good morning. I wanted to start with a sentence that can be read when we come to these wonderful facilities, which says, I think it was Ramón y Cajal's sentence that says that fortunate randomness, well, it's what helped me come here today. Well, MAPFRE Foundation is an NGO, it's a foundation, and of all these 5 areas, one of the areas is prevention and safety, and we talk about self-protection elements so that the society can identify risks so that they can eliminate them, and if they can't, they can act, at least if they can't eliminate those risks. So Raquel was talking a minute ago about this WHO data that haven't really varied along the years. It is important to say that falls have been recognized as the second cause for death due to injuries that are not intentional. We talk about 650,000 deaths. We talk about 37.5 million people who suffer from falls, and we say that population over 65 is more sensitive to this. At the MAPFRE Foundation, with the activities we do with the elderly, what we try to do when we design our campaigns is to try to recognize what's the reality that surrounds us, and so that we can try and avoid problems. If we gather all the information that we have at the INE, the National Statistics Institute, in this last 10 years, we see that over 25,000 people have died due to falls in Spain. If we consider this, considering the population curve, where there was a growth until 2012, we see that there is an increase, it goes up. In 2012, this increase in population falls, but the curve of falls still increases. So look at this. The greatest increase when compared to the previous year was in 2012, but we still see an increase in falls in 2011, 11% growth, in 2014, 2%. So if we transfer this, considering ages, by regrouping them by groups of ages, toddlers, then teenagers, then adults, and then the elderly. I don't know if you can see this in the first graph. In the first graph, everything is concentrated at the end, in 65 and over. If we were to zoom in, look at what happens here. This starts to make sense with regards to life expectancy. So here we see that those who died over 65 years, men has the same result, around 80, and then in the last stage it's women who died due to falls. All of these percentages, if we look at all the people who died in this decade, 81%, almost 82% were people over 65 years of age. Well, we had prepared this image. We knew we had this image of what falls represented nationally. We created the first report on safety in homes for elderly people. We wanted to see what sort of accidents they suffered from. This was the first time that we realized that 1.5 million older people, those who didn't die, had suffered at least one fall per year. And out of those people, 45% was outside of their home, and 40% of the falls took place inside the home. We also talked about stairs and steps and wet floors and the unfortunate figure of others. And when we face data, we all reject others because we don't know what others mean. We repeated this study in the region of Madrid in 2009. The results were quite similar. That's why I haven't shown them here. In 2011, we did the accidentability study for older people outside of their homes. As you can see here, 1 million people had accidents outside of their homes, and 81% of those accidents were falls. Obviously, this has consequences that we will see later on. This study came to show, maybe not for the first time, but almost confirmed this profile of older people who would fall outside of their homes. It's usually a woman who, they represented 12.5, who were 71 to 85 years of age. They lived alone, no studies, in populations of around 100,000 to 500,000 inhabitants. They were heavily fully medicated, 1 to 4 tablets a day. They used to use 2 sorts of supports in order to move around. And here we have a general idea so that we can draw a campaign that would reflect prevention with regards to accidents amongst the elderly. Then I'll talk to you about the campaign at the end of the presentation. I wanted to highlight that for the first time as well, we saw here how in the place where the accident took place, which was usually walking down the street, and then it was entering their homes and stairs, and then in rural areas. So we have different scenarios. And during the following year, we decided to account for the cost of what these falls would represent. I wanted to tell you that the cost is greater because we had to base our studies in the data we had, and we missed some data. But look at this, the falls of the people who did not die cost us at least 423 million euros. Well, this is the cost for the administration, public administration. So we can ask ourselves, how many square meters pavement that could represent if the pavement is one of the problems? That's a question we could ask ourselves. So, after having done the study, and I recognize that we didn't do this on purpose, but we saw that there was a data that we hadn't obtained previously. It was a study that I was lucky to design together with APETO, the Association of Occupational Therapeutical Professionals. Here we didn't want an answer. We didn't want to talk to the families of the older people who fell. We went to their homes. We went to 1,200 homes of elderly people. And during those visits, we act in a preventive way, trying to look at the risks that we saw in those homes. And that gave it a double meaning, because we talked about many different things. We saw that the homes were quite adapted, or the homes were mostly adapted to their situation, but then we saw things that caught our eye. 7% did not have, for instance, a repaired electricity system. So 7% out of a population of 8 million is an important figure, isn't it?
Pero no, objeto del momento que nos encontramos hoy, sin querer, intentando ver qué tipo de accidentes se producían en la casa, volvió a salir a la palestra.
But looking at the accidents, we saw that there were falls, 36% in the homes that we had been to. The people who lived in those homes had fallen. And by doing an in-depth analysis, we realized that there were only 2 statistical correlations, and one of them was pavement, and the difference was quite important in those homes where falls had taken place, and they were correlated with the bad situation of the pavement. It was usually slippery pavements. It was slippery pavements or places where the tiles moved or were irregular. So this was one of the things that was cheaper to correct. All of these studies that are in-depth studies, I invite you to read. They are on our website. You can download them for free, and you could even ask us if you are looking for some specific studies. So we designed a campaign that we did in 2 stages. The first one, thanks to our president, Mr. Álvarez, Professor Rivera Casado, Montserrat Lázaro from the Clinical Hospital, well, we designed a campaign, and we went to the different cities to talk to the elderly, to teach them prevention. The campaign was actually great, but what happened was that in some cases we needed to spark their interest, because they weren't interested. So during a second stage, we decided to use Elena Martín, who is a celebrity, and the Calmas group, who were they were elderly students, university students, and it was older people teaching older people. It was quite successful. We reached thousands of people thanks to this campaign. And in the last picture, the smaller picture of them all shows that we got an award from the Red Cross. And now, I'm not going to touch on the conclusions. I'm just going to show you this picture, because sometimes when they ask me, what do you do, Jesús, for a living? Well, funnily enough, I met Raquel and Juanma and Juan, Elena, almost out of chance, but really this thing that they talked about, the topic that they are experts in, is something that I loved, and these are some of the last campaigns that we have done. What we do is we run over dummies just to look at the brake systems in cars. We also light houses on fire. This was a test we did 2 months ago. It's the only test of these characteristics that is done the world over, just to look at what one pan can do in a home and how a door is basic to survive. We do all sorts of campaigns, and these campaigns have helped me to get to know you and the health system in Navarre, which is an amazing health system. And the last picture is one of the campaigns that we do. We do these studies so that we can then disseminate the learnings amongst the society. And what you have there is the square, the main square in Vitoria, 9,000 people on a Saturday morning. And my next topic, the topic I want to work on, and I'm asking for help now publicly, because with Juanma and with David, we were saying, well, we need to create some sort of platform for people to fall without being hurt, but so that they just see the importance of pavement, with regards to falls. Obviously, this has to be a non-destructive essay. Thank you very much, and I will give the floor to the next speaker. Thank you very much.